Hello friends and welcome back to our homestead. It's Christmas time and that means I am baking more and more sweetness to put on our holiday table. And I'm so excited to bake a very nice and crunchy and delicious yet soft inside Italian cookie that's made with almonds and almond flour. And if I butchered the name, please forgive me, but I think it's called Ricciarelli. And when I was in Italy back in 1989, I ate that cookie and I absolutely loved it. See, growing up, we didn't have many almonds. We ate more walnuts and hazelnuts, but not almonds. So almond was something new to us and I was so excited to eat that cookie in Italy. So today, I'm going to be making my version of Ricciarelli cookie from my pantry because normally it calls for dried cherries. I don't have any, so I'm going to be using dried cranberries because they're also tart and sweet at the same time. So let me show you the ingredients we're going to need, okay? And as I'm showing them, I'm going to call out the amount as well. So we're going to need 2 cups of almond meal. And I have almond meal that I got from King Arthur. It's a super finely ground. If you don't have a finely ground almond meal, you guys can just blanch whole almonds and grind them up yourself if you want to, but they have to be super dry because we don't want to bring any more moisture into this cookie than required. This is why I found that it's just cheaper buying them already in the package. Then I'm going to be needing some super fine sugar, and because I didn't know what super fine meant, I've decided to just use organic, well, it doesn't matter if it's organic, powdered sugar. I'm going to be using half a cup of powdered sugar. Then I'm going to be needing some zest of an orange. So some recipes use lemon zest. I'm going to be using zest of an orange because I think it's going to be really good with an orange zest. And I think like a zest of a whole orange, whatever that is. Then we're going to be needing some almond extract, and I got this extract from a store recently because I don't have any of my own, and all we need literally is just 3 drops, not much at all. Then we're going to be needing some dried cherries, and it calls for half a cup. So I'm going to be using half a cup of dried cranberries instead of cherries because I don't have those. Then we're going to need egg whites. So I have a whole egg and I need to separate, and I need to make sure that it's only egg white and no egg yolk in it. Otherwise, meringue, when we beat it, will not happen. And I'm going to need a tablespoon of honey, and I have a generous tablespoon of honey from our bees. And what else? Oh, a pinch of salt. And that's what's going to go into the dough itself. But also we're going to need almonds to coat the cookie around, so almost like a decoration. So it has to be blanched almonds. So I couldn't find the blanched almonds, so I found the slivered ones, and it's okay if it's slivered. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put them in a Ziploc bag, about a half a cup or so, maybe more. Okay, I'm gonna put them in a Ziploc bag, and I need to break them up into a fine, let me move all this stuff out of the way, hold on a second. Okay, and we need to just kind of like break them up. So if you want to use a blender or I don't know, a food processor, or just use the old-fashioned method where you just use a rolling pin and you roll them and you break them. Or if you're frustrated with wrapping the presents and the family's annoying you, you do this. Get your frustrations out. Christmas time can be a fun time, but let's not fool ourselves. It also can be a stressful time. And I'm just doing this to break them up because I need them into small pieces so I can decorate my cookie outside. All right, so let's get starting on the dough. I also turned the oven on to 375 Fahrenheit, 375 Fahrenheit. And if you guys are using the metric system or the Celsius, then it should be 190 Celsius oven. I got a couple of baking sheets and I lined them with parchment paper. So I have a parchment paper, so it'll be nice and so nothing will stick. Notice that This recipe does not call for any butter. I know. Almonds have enough fat in them, so there is no need for any butter. So it's going to be soft on the inside and crunchy on the outside. And that is exactly how I remember those cookies when I was in Italy. All right, let's get going. We're going to start off with 2 cups of almond meal. And I'm noticing that it's a little bit clumpy, so I'm going to need to make sure that there are no clumps when I'm actually baking with it. All right, so I got 2 cups in here of almond flour or almond meal. And even though this one says, what does it say? It says super finely ground. Well, it's still a meal, so it's still a little bit of clumps. All right, and to that I'm gonna add a 1/2 cup of fine sugar or sugar powder. All right, so let me just grab a whisk, and I'm just going to whisk everything together so it's mixed. All right, just like this. And to that I'm going to add a pinch of salt. Okay, just a pinch of salt. That's it, pinch of salt. I'm gonna mix that all together. All right, now let's see what's next. Also now I need to put some orange zest in here. All right, so I'm just going to take a very fine part of zester right here. I'm gonna zest some orange. And if you guys want to use a lemon, only use a lemon, but I'm gonna make sure that I only grab the yellow part and not the white part, because that's the part that's bitter. All right, because we want to get the zesty aroma of freshness, of that nice citrus smell. It's gonna be perfect for the holidays. You know, for those of us who immigrated back in early 1990s or 1980s from the former Soviet Union, many of us had to go through the immigration process, and we all had to stay in Italy on the way here. So my Christmas and New Year of 1989 was spent in Italy, in a small town about 50 kilometers away from Rome, a small town right on the seaside, and it was called Lavinio, and it was a small, let me just shake that all off in here. I have a little bit in here. And it was a small town, and because we were there in the winter, it was a sleepy town in the winter, because it was mainly used as a touristy or the summer homes, you know, so it was very sleepy. But regardless, it was still, you know, the shops were open. And I will never forget that Christmas in Italy, in Lavinio, where a gigantic cobblestone piazza was right in the front of the big church, right in the middle of the center of town, and they had a bonfire that was going day and night. And I will never forget that midnight mass that we went to in Italy, even though we didn't speak much of Italian language. But Italian people are fun and very welcoming and inviting, and they know how to have a good time and how to celebrate. So outside they had tables with champagne for everyone and pastries. It was so much fun. And they had a gigantic nativity center, like with the real donkeys and real lamb and real sheep. It was just so much fun. And the bonfire was gigantic, and it kept going 3 days and 3 nights non-stop. So like I said, Italians know how to celebrate, and that was my first Christmas and New Year since we left home. And it was difficult to leave home and leave my friends and school and my church and all of my surroundings that I was familiar with. But let me tell you, being in Italy with Italian people, it was something very special, and they definitely made it special for us. So I mixed all my dry ingredients, and now I need to focus on the meringue, on the egg whites mixing with other ingredients. Okay, so I'm just going to grab 2 eggs, and I need to separate them. Okay, hopefully I don't get any egg yolk in it, so I have to be careful, because if you get a little bit of fat from the egg yolk into it, you're done for. The meringue will not happen. All right, so I did not break this one successfully, so I have to be very careful. Separate. All right, so almost done. So I want all of the egg white in here. Okay, come on. Still feel a little bit here. Come on, separate, separate. All right, done. Okay, let me wash my hands real quick. Now I just need to beat them to soft peaks. They don't have to be very hard peaks, but just soft peaks. All right, it's not done yet, but it's getting fluffier. At this point, I'm going to be adding the honey. I have 1 generous tablespoon of honey. If you guys don't have honey, I mean, you can put a little bit of molasses. I really discourage to use corn syrup, but honey is so much better. And I'm just going to be putting 3 drops, not more than that, because we don't want too much. 1, 2, 3 of almond extract. Oh wow, the aroma of extract immediately filled my room. All right, so I'm just going to continue beating this until we get soft peaks. So let's see. How do you know when the meringue is done? If you flip the bowl upside down, it should not fall. And guess what? Nothing is falling. All right, okay, so next step is I need to fold this meringue into the dried mixture, okay? And now I need to make a dough out of this, okay? I'm not going to be over kneading it because it's not exactly like a dough that you would be, you know, for baking bread or something. This is a cookie dough, so it's supposed to be soft. It should not be sticking to my hands necessarily, but it should be soft, okay? So let me just mix it all together. And it's gonna seems like everything is deflating of all the meringue that I just put in here, but believe you me, the bubbles, the air bubbles that are in the meringue are still there. So it just needs to be all incorporated together. And I'm gonna start rolling them out into tiny little round balls, probably about 1 inch, I want to say. See how it's coming together? About 1 inch diameter little balls. All right, so it's already pretty much coming together. Let me just fix it all here. Oh, you know what I forgot to put in, guys? And nobody told me. Lilia, where are the cherries? Where are the where are the cranberries? So I'm gonna put about 1/2 cup of dried cranberries in here. Okay, all right, just about 1/2 cup. Yeah, that should be enough. 1/2 cup of cranberries, and I'm just gonna mix them all in here so they all incorporate it as well. So I see little pieces of orange zest. I can smell orange zest. I can smell the almond extract. It looks nice and festive. So this should make about 20 cookies or so. All right. So I'm going to grab a teaspoon and I'm going to start scooping them and making them into little bowls. Okay. It's a little sticky. So you know what? I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit more of almond flour. Just a little bit more, not too much. Just a little bit. All right, maybe like 2 tablespoons or so, maybe even less. I just don't want it to be, see, it was still a little too runny for my taste. It should not be sticking to my fingers. All right, so guys, I hope you guys really making those cookies at home. Whip out your favorite recipes. Learn new recipes, okay? Because something that maybe you had when you were a child, something that's going to be so nostalgic, and it's going to be a really good experience to bring that back, to resurrect that back for the holidays. Let me grab a couple of teaspoons so I can start making these little Italian cookies, all right? So I'm just gonna take a little bit on a teaspoon, and with clean hands, I'm just rolling them into a little bowl like this, just like this. So it's about an inch or so. And I'm just gonna put it on a cookie sheet just like this, okay? But that's not all, my friends, that's not all. I'm just gonna put them here, and I wanna keep them, oh, that's too much. I'm gonna put them here, but that's not all. Remember those almonds that I was whacking with a rolling pin? We need to put that into a bowl and roll them in those almonds. So they're going to be nice and almondy all around. Look at that. All right, so I have a few here. So let's start. Let me just open this bag. Probably be easier if I have a little bowl for that. Let me just dump it in a bowl. It will be easier if I have it in a bowl. All right, so it's still see, it has like little chunks on here. All right, so I'm just gonna take that little bowl that I had here, and I'm gonna roll it all around, and now it's ready for baking. Second guy, and ready for baking. If you feel that your cookies don't want to do that, then dunking them in an egg white might be helpful. But in my case, they're sticking no problem. The broken up almond piece is sticking no problem. All right, so I'm gonna keep doing this until I have a tray full, and I'm gonna make them ready for baking. Okay, now it's gonna be baking for excuse my cat, she's in a festive mood. And now it's gonna be baking for about 13 minutes. So I spaced those cookies up about an inch in between because they may puff up, because that's what they do. They're gonna puff up a little bit, and you just don't want them to stick to each other. And let them bake for about 13 minutes. Now some ovens may require about 15 minutes. So in about 13 minutes, I'm gonna go and check on them. In the meantime, we're gonna do a little dance. All right, the timer went off. Let's check on those bad boys. Ooh, lovely. They got a little toasty. Look at them, aren't they gorgeous? Yum. Nice. They're still hot. Should really give them a minute. Ooh. Yeah, let's finish off with a little bit of dusting of powdered sugar, like a little bit of snow falling. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Christmas dessert, boys and girls. Christmas dessert. Oh, this brings so many great memories of Italy. I wish I could go back. But these cookies will bring the memories back. Nice. All right, so let's give it a taste of this nice and fluffy, yet spiky. I don't know if you guys can see it. Spiky little cookie here. Okay. Oh, it smells like almonds. Mmm. Just like back in Italy. Just like back in Italy. It's so, so good. Mmm. Buon Natale, my friends. Oh, this is so nostalgic. Brings me back to 1989 in Italy, in Lavinio. Walking through the streets, fireworks everywhere. The smell of a huge bonfire in center of the town. The bells are ringing for a midnight mass, and the whole town is there. It was just something very special to see. It was because it was midnight, and little kids were literally sleeping on benches and the pews at the church as the service was going on. We left the church at 2 o'clock in the morning, and there was food all over the tables everywhere. People were sharing, laughing, hugging. It was just such a great time in Italy. So these cookies definitely bring that memory. So my friends, if you guys have a chance to go to Italy, I suggest you guys do, and I wish to go back as well. On this note, I wish you guys all a happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Buon Natale, z Rождеством Христовым. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful holiday.